All right, let's cut to the chase and crack open a universe that's pretty much lived rent-free in our heads for years. Douluo Dalu, also known as Soul Land.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, who hasn't tried to mimic a spirit skill in their living room after watching Tang San pull off some crazy move?
Guilty as charged, probably.
This series isn't just popular, it's a phenomenon, right? Beloved for its intricate world building, the evolution of its complex characters, and a narrative that's consistently delivered those aha moments. It really set a remarkably high bar for storytelling in Chinese animation.
It absolutely did.
For so many of us, it's been a foundational experience, shaping our expectations for what an epic fantasy can truly be. We've followed Tang San and the Shrek 7 Devils on their epic journey to godhood, experiencing every triumph, every tribulation, and every spirit ring acquisition alongside them. It was quite the ride.
Definitely.
And while that main saga concluded, that feeling of satisfaction was always mixed with a bit of, a longing for more, wasn't it? As fans, we're always hungry for those deeper dives, aren't we? We crave the untold lore, the backstories of those characters who maybe only played supporting roles, but left such an indelible mark.
Yeah, those figures whose presence just hinted at so much more beneath the surface. Indeed, and that longing is about to be answered in a pretty big way. What's particularly fascinating here is the recent announcement of a brand new movie, Douluo Dalu Chen Xin's Sword Art.
Right.
And this isn't just another spin-off, designed to fill a gap or just cash in on the franchise's success. It feels like a significant strategic release. It promises to add substantial, intricate layers to the established lore and, honestly, reignite excitement across the entire fan base.
That's a good point. By spotlighting a character whose legacy is already etched into the fabric of the Douluo continent.
Exactly. It's just a profound expansion of the universe itself, not just some tangential story.
So, our mission today is to explore everything we know about this upcoming film. We're going to delve deep into the character of Sword Douluo, Chen Xin, really analyze the narrative choices they seem to be making for his origin story, and consider the broader implications this movie could have for the entire Douluo Dalu universe. We've got pre-release info, some really tantalizing teaser trailers.
Oh yeah, those were interesting.
And of course, a good dose of fan reactions, some thrilled, some, a bit skeptical to sift through. Our ultimate goal is to understand how this film might just redefine Chen Xin's legacy and maybe offer us a fresh, perhaps even shocking perspective on the world we thought we knew so well.
This raises a really important question, though. Why dedicate an entire feature film with all the significant resources and narrative weight that implies to a supporting character? I mean, no matter how beloved he is within the fandom.
Right, it's a big commitment.
It really suggests a story of profound significance, one that connects not just to Chen Xin's individual journey and his, rise to power, but to the very fabric of the Douluo continent's past, and, quite possibly, its future. The choice to center an entire movie around him indicates there's a pivotal, untold chapter that's maybe essential for a more complete and nuanced understanding of the world's history and its foundational powers.
Exactly. This isn't just a side quest. It feels more like a foundational story they're telling. And for those of you marking your calendars, this epic tale, officially titled Soul Land movie, Sword Dao Chen Xin, is set to premiere on July 12th, 2025 on Tencent Video. That date is going to be circled in red for a lot of fans, I think.
No doubt.
Because it's not just a new piece of content. It's a deep dive into the making of a legend, a chance to witness the forging of one of the most respected figures in the Douluo Dalu saga. Get ready, because it promises both grand action and some pretty profound character development.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. The movie takes us back in time, focusing on a character many fans already adore, Sword Douluo, Chen Xin. He's been this stoic, powerful presence throughout the main series, right? A figure of immense strength and quiet dignity. But we've only ever really seen the end result of his journey.
That's true. We see the legend, not the man becoming the legend.
Exactly. So what makes him such a fan favorite, compelling enough to warrant his own feature film? Especially when, there's so many other powerful characters in this universe.
Well, what's fascinating here is the combination of his established reputation and his understated but absolutely crucial role. Chen Xin is known for that stoic demeanor, almost a quiet dignity that, belies his incredible strength.
Right. He's not flashy. Not at all. He's a man of few words, choosing decisive action over grandstanding. He's renowned across the continent for his unparalleled swordsmanship. His iconic seven-kill sword isn't just a blade. It's a symbol of absolute power and mastery, reflecting a lifetime of dedication to his craft.
Yeah, that sword is legendary in itself.
It is. But beyond his fighting prowess, he embodies this unwavering sense of justice and integrity. He's utterly dependable, often serving as a silent pillar of strength in times of crisis, almost a moral compass for the Seven Treasure Glazed Tile clan.
That's a great point about his understated power, and it makes me think, despite being a supporting character, his presence always felt gravitational.
Yeah.
Like during the Spirit Hall attacks, wasn't it his sheer defensive power with the seven-kill sword that often bought crucial time, allowed Ning Fengzi to coordinate, or even for Ning Rongrong to escape sometimes?
Absolutely. He wasn't just there. He was often the anchor, like you said, holding the line.
We saw him at his peak, the titled Douluo, and now we get to see how he got there, the very foundations of that anchor being built.
Precisely. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the choice to explore Chen Xin's past is a profoundly deliberate narrative decision. It's not just to satisfy curiosity, but really to enrich the entire Douluo Dalu universe. This isn't just a nostalgic look back at his youth, it's a deep dive into the formative events that shaped him into the legendary figure we know. The updated information clearly states the movie is set 2 decades before the events of the first season.
20 years, wow.
Yeah, and this time frame is critical because it gives us a direct prequel. It offers vital context for the world state, the rising political tensions, maybe the early moves of Spirit Hall, and the characters we eventually meet in the main series. It really paints a more complete picture of the Douluo continent's history leading up to Tang San's era.
And it traces his journey from what must have been, a young, immensely talented, but perhaps still unrefined swordsman.
Right, raw potential.
To the legendary figure he ultimately becomes. The source material highlights key developmental experiences that would forge such a hero. We learn about the tragic loss of his father.
A classic element, but significant here.
Yeah, classic hero building element, sure. But in the specific context of Douluo Dalu, that kind of loss often means more, right? Severing a spirit lineage, the burden of a family's martial soul, maybe losing crucial guidance in cultivation.
Exactly. It likely serves as a catalyst for profound personal growth, pushing him into an even more intense, perhaps even desperate pursuit of ultimate swordsmanship. Not just for power, maybe, but for vengeance or to honor a lost legacy.
Exactly. This isn't just about gaining strength. It's about a philosophical devotion to the path of the sword. A life dedicated to mastering an art form that demands not just physical prowess, but mental fortitude and, spiritual clarity.
That's a core concept in Douluo Dalu, isn't it?
It is. A true master doesn't just wield a weapon, they embody its essence. And this film promises to show us that transformation. We should see these defining moments, understand the roots of his stoicism, his unwavering dedication, and perhaps even the subtle nuances of how his seven-kill sword's abilities developed. Speaking of visuals, I caught some glimpses in the teaser trailers, and they certainly set a tone, didn't they? What immediately struck me was seeing a younger Chen Xin, not quite the legend we know, but already with that iconic seven-kill sword. How do you think the animators are using those early visuals to maybe foreshadow his later power?
Well, the visual details seem masterful so far. That glimpse of a young Chen Xin wielding his seven-kill sword, even if it looks maybe a bit earlier, less refined, it instantly connects him to his future self.
Right.
And the description of his appearance is equally striking. Black hair flowing behind him, emphasizing his youth and dynamic movement as he strides confidently into battle. This isn't the static, unyielding titled Douluo we often saw later on.
Yeah, he looks more active.
Exactly. Perhaps even more volatile, brimming with untamed potential. It captures that raw energy before it becomes that channeled precision we associate with him.
And his determination is absolutely evident in his eyes, even in those fleeting glimpses. That visual detail feels crucial because it reflects a deep, almost primal commitment to the path of the sword. It's not just about winning battles. It's about mastering his craft, becoming one with his blade, pushing beyond perceived limits. This kind of intense focus, even at a young age, undeniably foreshadows the greatness he's destined to achieve.
It tells us the legend wasn't accidental.
No, it was earned through sheer force of will, countless hours of, arduous training, and an unyielding spirit.
Yeah. This focus on his origin really underscores the idea that legends aren't simply born, they're forged through immense adversity and profound choices. The quote from the new update, "The end was the beginning, a lifetime of storms all for one sword," that perfectly encapsulates this journey.
That's a great line.
It really is. It suggests a sort of cyclical narrative where his ultimate power is intrinsically linked to his initial struggles and choices. Every hardship, every battle, every loss he experienced was a necessary step on his path. His entire existence, every storm he weathered, was dedicated to perfecting his singular purpose. Wielding that one, ultimate sword. It speaks to a destiny fulfilled through arduous personal sacrifice and an almost spiritual dedication to his craft, transforming him from just a powerful spirit master into, well, a living legend of the sword.
Okay, so with that incredible backstory as our foundation, what does this all mean for the movie's central story?
Yeah.
It clearly revolves directly around Chen Xin's relationship with the Seven Treasure Glazed Tile clan.
Right.
And specifically, his incredibly important bond with Ning Rongrong, who we know as the clan's young princess. This is such a foundational relationship for his character in the main series, so getting to see its genesis is, well, it's pretty exciting.
Absolutely. And what's fascinating here is the ominous political backdrop that provides the immediate high-stakes context for this relationship. The story is clearly set against the foreboding rise of the Spirit Hall's power.
The big bads, even back then.
Oh, yeah. Which, as we know, eventually becomes the ultimate antagonist in the main series. At this earlier stage, 20 years before the final war, their sinister plan is already in motion. Conquer all sects, unify the Spirit Master world under their dominion.
So they were plotting long before Tang San showed up.
Definitely. But their tactics aren't just brute force. They're likely more subtle at this stage, more meticulously crafted. Spirit Hall operates with that hierarchical structure built on merits, offering opportunities but demanding absolute loyalty. This film might reveal how they began leveraging that structure, not just against smaller groups, but against foundational pillars like the Seven Treasure Glazed Tile clan.
Initiating a power play, maybe through manipulation.
Yeah.
Or cutting off resources.
Exactly. Far more intricate than just open war at this point. And their primary strategic target in this insidious scheme, the Seven Treasure Glazed Tile clan, precisely because of their unique support abilities and immense influence, they're a linchpin.
This immediately places Chen Xin in a crucial and incredibly dangerous role, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We learn that his role shifts dramatically from just being a powerful swordsman to being a dedicated protector. He takes on the mantle of defending the clan and, even more critically, safeguarding the young Ning Rongrong from Spirit Hall's relentless pursuit. This isn't just a general defense. It's a very personal, specific guardianship. It's going to test his limits in ways combat alone probably never could.
He has to think differently.
Yeah, not just swinging a sword. He's thinking strategically, defensively, always with her safety in mind.
And the emotional core of this film, as highlighted by the promotional materials and the updated synopsis, is clearly the relationship between Chen Xin and Ning Rongrong.
She seems central.
Very central. She's not just a background character or a plot device. She's explicitly highlighted as a significant character, vital to his journey. Her presence provides the very heart and the emotional stakes for Chen Xin's actions, giving his immense power a deeply personal purpose.
This narrative choice adds significant depth to Chen Xin's character. Really shifts our perception of him. He's not merely this warrior of unparalleled skill, a master of the seven kill sword whose sole purpose is perfecting his technique.
Right.
Instead, he evolves into a deeply human mentor and a guardian figure. We're hopefully going to witness this profound transformation from a focused martial artist to a selfless protector, one whose formidable strength finds its truest meaning in defending the vulnerable.
Exactly. His decision to protect Ning Rongrong and the Seven Treasure Glazed Tile clan at all costs isn't just about his duty as a Douluo, assuming he even is one at the start of this journey. It demonstrates an unwavering sense of devotion and loyalty that transcends mere obligation.
It feels deeper than just a job.
It does. It highlights his willingness to sacrifice his own path, potentially even his own life for further personal cultivation for those he cares about. This is such a profound theme that resonates deeply within the Douluo Dalu universe, that idea that personal power is most meaningful when used for the protection of others, not just for self-gain or glory. It foreshadows the type of character he ultimately becomes, one who prioritizes the well-being of his clan above all else, embodying the true spirit of heroism beyond just raw combat ability.
And the new updates clarify the stakes even further, adding even more specificity to this critical moment in history. We learn that this grand conspiracy unfolds exactly 20 years before the final war of Soul Land.
Right. That timeline again.
This precise timeline feels vital placing the events within a clear historical context for fans, showing us the roots of the conflicts that shape the main saga.
And this urgency is palpable. Spirit Hall's plan isn't just about gaining power. It involves systematically eliminating all major sects. And the 7 Treasure Glazed tile sect is identified as their very first crucial target.
Their first big move.
Yes. This indicates their immense strategic importance and the imminent existential danger they face. It's a calculated move to dismantle the existing power structure. The 7 Treasure Glazed tile clan, with its unique support abilities that are just indispensable in Spirit Master combat, represents a significant hurdle. They need to be neutralized first.
And this is where the plot truly thickens, leading to a really emotional entrustment, it seems. Douluo, another key figure, right? A fellow titled Douluo protecting the clan.
Could wrong, yeah.
He makes a pivotal decision. He specifically entrusts the young Ning Rongrong, and it's explicitly noted she is just age 5 to the legendary Sword Douluo Chen Xin.
Just 5 years old, imagine.
The request is clear. He asks Chen Xin to protect her and flee. This isn't just about fighting, it's about strategic retreat, survival, and safeguarding the future of the clan through his youngest, most promising member.
Yeah, the updated description paints a vivid picture of what ensues. Their journey isn't just a casual escape, it's described as a dangerous journey of escape.
That sounds intense.
It does. This phrase hints at constant peril, relentless pursuit, probably through treacherous landscapes, and the need for immense resilience, both physical and spiritual. They are unknowingly caught within a grand conspiracy, a plot so vast and intricate that it will forever change the fate of the Douluo continent.
So their escape isn't just personal survival.
It suggests their personal flight is intrinsically intertwined with the larger political machinations. Their survival will have far-reaching consequences for the entire world, perhaps even influencing the eventual balance of power. Maybe even the existence of the future Tang sect depends on this. It highlights that even in their personal struggle, they are part of a much bigger historical shift, pivotal to the survival of independent spirit master powers.
Okay, let's unpack this juicy bit of pre-release information because it's caused quite a stir among fans, hasn't it?
Oh yeah, this one got people talking.
We're talking about a truly controversial plot twist. The revelation that Chen Xin was once considered a candidate for the Azura God's inheritance. This is the kind of detail that can send a fandom into a frenzy, given what we know about the Azura God's previous connections and the immense power it bestows.
This is truly where the movie potentially redefines, or at least significantly expands upon, established lore. According to an earlier synopsis that circulated, and we should note it might have changed or been clarified since Chen Xin was actually offered the profound opportunity to undergo the Azura God's trial.
The Azura Gods.
Yes, and potentially ascend to godhood. This is not a minor detail. It's a direct, almost unbelievable link to one of the most powerful and formidable divine entities in the Douluo Dalu pantheon, known for its focus on judgment and, well, slaughter.
Right.
But here's the surprising and perhaps most impactful twist. He chooses to forego this path. He makes a conscious, deliberate decision to dedicate himself entirely to protecting the 7 Treasure Glazed tile clan, and specifically the young Ning Rongrong.
Wow. He turns down godhood.
Apparently, this rejection of divine power for human connection and loyalty is a monumental choice, especially in a universe where godhood is the ultimate aspiration for so many spirit masters.
Now, for fans of the series, this is a really big deal. Because the Asura god is so closely associated with the Pang family, we immediately think of Tang San and, historically, Tang Zhen.
The lineage seems pretty clear in the novels and the show.
Their connection to this particular god has been a cornerstone of the main saga's divine power structure, almost like a destined lineage. So what's the fan debate all about? Well, there's quite a bit of skepticism floating around.
Understandably so.
Some fans openly question if this storyline truly fits within the established lore. They're asking if it feels forced or maybe shoehorned in just for dramatic effect.
And these concerns are absolutely understandable. They stem from a deep-seated desire for continuity and fidelity to the universe's internal logic. Does it stretch the boundaries of what we thought we knew about the Azura God's selection process?
Yeah, like with the pool of candidates wider than we initially believed.
Or is this an exceptional case of potential being recognized outside a specific bloodline? These are legitimate questions that a loyal fan base will always raise when new information appears to challenge long-held assumptions. The core concern is about maintaining the integrity and consistency of this meticulously built world that fans have invested years in.
But let's play devil's advocate for a moment. While this twist certainly adds dramatic weight, Does it risk creating plot holes or maybe cheapening the established rarity of divine inheritances?
That's a fair question.
Like, if Chen Xin was that qualified for the Azura god, why wasn't his name ever even whispered among the most elite circles, even in retrospectives, as someone with such divine potential? It feels like a pretty big secret to keep for someone so prominent later on.
That's a valid challenge, and it points to maybe a crucial distinction: qualification versus ultimate choice. The Azura god, while powerful, isn't necessarily omnipotent in selecting heirs. Maybe it seeks potential and tests the spirit.
So Chen Xin had the potential, but
But Chen Xin's decision, if this plot point holds, highlights that even divine paths aren't necessarily imposed. They are, in essence, chosen or rejected. This isn't necessarily about retroactively fitting him into a pre-established lineage, but rather showing a deliberate rejection of that path.
which paradoxically makes him maybe even more compelling.
Exactly. It elevates his character even further. His loyalty becomes more profound, precisely because he sacrificed something so monumental: ultimate power, immortality for the sake of others. This makes his heroism arguably even more human and relatable.
That's a powerful reframing. The deeper meaning here, the true weight of this twist, lies in his decision. His choice to reject the Azura god's inheritance in favor of protecting those he loves, his clan, and specifically Ning Rongrong, is profound. It highlights his deep sense of loyalty, his unwavering commitment to his chosen family, and ultimately, his humanity. This is a powerful message for any character, especially one we consider a hero, that true strength doesn't always come from divine power or external blessings alone, but often, and perhaps more importantly, from the choices one makes, the values one upholds, and the personal sacrifices one is willing to endure for the sake of others. It elevates his character from merely being strong to being truly noble, making his journey even more relatable despite the fantastical setting. Okay, let's shift our focus a bit to Ning Rongrong, who is clearly set to play a crucial, if maybe surprising, role in Chen Xin's sword art.
Definitely seems that way.
She's definitely not just a background figure or, a damsel in distress waiting to be rescued. The promotional materials, the trailers, the updated synopsis, they all consistently show her as a central character, actively accompanying Chen Xin and sharing directly in his struggles. This feels like a fundamental dynamic that's going to drive a significant portion of the film.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here is her portrayal. She's depicted as a very young child, confirmed to be just 5 years old in the updated information.
5. That's incredibly young.
It really is, significantly, even dramatically, younger than the spirited and powerful character fans are familiar with from the main series, where she's a vital member of the Shrek Seven Devils. Seeing her at such a tender age adds an immediate layer of vulnerability and also deeply underscores the immense responsibility Chen Xin shoulders.
It really emphasizes the selfless nature of his protective instincts, doesn't it?
It does, and despite her extreme youth, the source material and teasers indicate she is already shown as determined and courageous, even at 5 years old.
So she's not just a passive burden.
Apparently not. This is a crucial character detail. It suggests she's already displaying nascent qualities that will make her a formidable spirit master and a future leader of the 7 Treasure Glazed tile clan. This isn't a blank slate. It's the genesis of the powerful Ning Rongrong we know, demonstrating her innate resilience and powerful spirit even before she truly understands her own abilities or destiny.
And their dynamic is undeniably one of the movie's emotional cores. Her relationship with Chen Xin is clearly meant to be a focal point, as he explicitly takes on the demanding role of her protector and mentor. This setup allows for a powerful exploration of duty, responsibility, and the formation of a bond that will last decades. It lets us witness the early development of a profound, almost father-daughter-like connection, where a stoic warrior learns to nurture and safeguard a precious young life amidst overwhelming danger.
That bond will likely be critical to both their growths, you'd think.
Now, this focus on a very young Ning Rongrong has certainly generated some mixed reactions among fans, and it's easy to see why.
Yeah, you see both sides online.
On one hand, there's genuine excitement. Some are really eager to see more of her backstory and learn about her early experiences, understand how her character was shaped from childhood.
Yeah.
They want to see the roots of her eventual power and personality.
How she started on that path to becoming one of the most powerful support spirit masters.
Exactly.
But on the other hand, there's also a degree of concern among some segments of the fan base. They worry that her prominence, especially given the movie is titled After Chen Xin,
Right, that's his movie.
might potentially overshadow his own story. The fear is that the narrative might become her origin story with him primarily as the protector, rather than his journey with her as a key element. It raises questions about how that balance will be struck in the final film.
Will it maintain its focus on Sword Douluo, or will it diverge into more of a shared narrative?
It highlights that delicate act of expanding a universe while maintaining focus on the titular character.
But if we connect this to the bigger picture, the dynamic between the two characters is likely to be a key element of the movie's appeal, regardless of the precise balance, wouldn't you say?
I think so. A powerful, stoic mentor and a vulnerable but determined young charge. That kind of relationship adds both immense emotional depth and narrative complexity.
It's a compelling trope.
It is. It often resonates strongly with audiences, exploring themes of growth, responsibility, and unwavering loyalty that transcend the specific setting. It's really about the human connection in a world of superhuman powers. And there's an intriguing visual from the trailer that has everyone talking, hinting at even more layers to Ning Rongrong's early life. Her connection to a mysterious dragon.
Oh yeah, I saw that. What was that about?
The visual shows this dragon flying around her protectively, suggesting an immediate and deep bond, almost as if it's her guardian spirit, or maybe a manifestation of her family's ancestral ties to powerful spiritual beings.
Fan speculation has, of course, gone wild with this. A lot of fans are theorizing that this dragon could be a manifestation or a connection to Douluo Gurong.
Whose spirit is the bone dragon, famously.
Exactly. This would make perfect sense given his role as a fellow protector of the clan, and the updated info explicitly states he entrusts Ning Rongrong to Chen Xin. Could this be Douluo's spirit protecting her even when he can't be physically present?
If this theory proves true, and it feels plausible, it would further enhance the narrative's exploration of the relationships between the characters and their spirits, which is such a core mechanic of Douluo Dalu. It would add another layer of established lore into this origin story, showing how the unique powers and connections of the clan manifest even in its youngest members. It suggests a deeply interwoven fate for Ning Rongrong, Chen Xin, and Douluo, highlighting the foundational aspects of the Seven Treasure Glazed tile clan's unique spiritual heritage and how its most powerful guardians operate.
That sort of subtle lore integration is what fans really appreciate, isn't it?
Absolutely. Weaving new narratives seamlessly into the existing tapestry of the Douluo continent.
So let's zoom out. What does this all mean for the entire Douluo Dalu universe? Chen Xin's sword art isn't just a side story, is it? Not just a tangential narrative that exists in isolation.
Doesn't feel like it.
Based on everything we've discussed, it has the profound potential to significantly impact the established lore and deepen our understanding of the characters and the broader world they inhabit. It truly feels like a pivotal, almost foundational piece of the puzzle that maybe we didn't even know was missing.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here is the strategic decision by the creators to focus on Chen Xin and his journey rather than, say, the main protagonist, Tang San, or other, perhaps more obvious spin-off candidates like the other Shrek 7 Devils.
It is a bold move.
It really is. It reflects the franchise's willingness to expand its narrative horizons beyond the immediate focus of its core hero. It's a statement that the Douluo Dalu world is vast and rich enough to sustain multiple compelling, in-depth stories, each capable of standing on its own while contributing to the larger saga.
Shows confidence in the depth of their secondary characters, too.
Absolutely. It truly highlights how rich and expansive the Douluo Dalu universe is. It demonstrates that even supporting characters, who may have had limited screen time in the main series, possess incredibly deep backstories and narrative arcs worthy of in-depth exploration. This move suggests that the narrative well is far from dry. There are countless untold stories waiting to be discovered, enriching the overall experience for fans. It validates the idea that every character, no matter how small their initial role, contributes to the grand tapestry of history and destiny in this world.
It kind of shifts the perspective from just a single hero's journey to a more sprawling, interconnected epic.
Additionally, the movie's exploration of the Azura god's influence, particularly through that controversial plot twist involving Chen Xin's potential inheritance, and the profound choices characters make in the face of divine power, could have really far-reaching implications. It opens up new avenues for understanding the pantheon, not just as sources of power, but as entities whose influence can be, and sometimes should be, resisted.
That's interesting. Historically, divine inheritances seem like almost inescapable destinies, right? Chosen paths characters must follow for ultimate power.
Exactly. Chen Xin's rejection, if it plays out like the synopsis suggests, implies a radical concept, that mortal will can supersede divine decree.
So this storyline raises fundamental questions about the very nature of power itself. Is it purely inherited through bloodline or martial soul? Is it chosen through trials? What are its true costs, both personal and for those around you? It also delves into the immense responsibilities that come with possessing such power, whether divine or mortal, and how those responsibilities might clash with personal desires or destined paths. But perhaps most significantly, it highlights the often underestimated value of human connections, loyalty, friendship, family, in a world where divine beings play such a significant and overwhelming role.
Yeah, Chen Xin's choice to prioritize loyalty and human relationships over godhood is a powerful statement about what truly matters in this universe. It suggests an alternative path to true strength and fulfillment. And these themes, especially the exploration of choice versus destiny and the value of humanity in the face of divinity, could lay crucial groundwork or provide deeper context for future stories within the Douluo Dalu universe.
How so?
Well, they might influence how new characters navigate their own paths to power or face similar dilemmas between personal ambition and greater responsibility. For instance, what does Chen Xin's choice imply for characters like Tang San, who did embrace their divine paths? Does it imply a different kind of heroism, one rooted in autonomy rather than preordained ascension?
Interesting contrast.
This film could very well be laying philosophical foundations for what the franchise explores next, maybe subtly redefining what it means to be a hero in the Douluo continent.
Okay, let's talk about the audience reaction, because the fans have opinions. The announcement of Chen Xin's sword art has, predictably, generated a really wide range of reactions.
Oh, for sure. It's a passionate, deeply invested community.
And any new installment, especially one focusing on a beloved character like Sword Douluo, is going to be scrutinized with incredible detail. It's not just another movie, it's an extension of their beloved universe.
Indeed, and the pre-release information has certainly introduced some polarizing elements we've touched on. The inclusion of Ning Rongrong and the significant focus on her early life, specifically at age 5, has been particularly divisive.
You see both excitement and worry.
Exactly. Some fans are eagerly anticipating her expanded role, thrilled to see the origins of her character and the formative years of her bond with Chen Xin. They see it as an opportunity to round out her backstory, provide context for her later personality and abilities.
Right, but on the flip side, others are concerned it might detract from Chen Jin's central narrative. There's a genuine worry that the film, ostensibly about him and titled in his honor, might become too much of a dual origin story.
Yeah, potentially diluting his individual journey and the singular focus on his path to mastery.
It's a delicate balancing act, isn't it? How do you introduce a crucial emotional connection that's foundational to his character without shifting the spotlight entirely?
And then, of course, there's the major talking point, the one that sparked countless forum discussions and online debates. The controversy surrounding Chen Xin's connection to the Asura god.
That potential plot twist.
Yeah. While some fans appreciate the added depth and complexity the storyline brings to his character, maybe celebrating his selfless choice to reject godhood, others feel that it stretches the established lore too far. They argue it potentially creates inconsistencies with what they believed about the Asura god's lineage, the rarity of its candidates, or the specific trials required for its inheritance.
This division in fan opinion really highlights the constant challenge faced by creators, doesn't it? Trying to expand a beloved universe without alienating its core audience.
It's such a tightrope walk.
Yeah, between introducing surprising details that add freshness and maintaining a consistent narrative that respects established canon. How much can you innovate before it feels like a different story? How much new lore can you introduce before it feels like a retcon? It's a fascinating dynamic that every long-running franchise eventually encounters.
Precisely. It's about balancing that desire to surprise and evolve the narrative with the crucial need to satisfy the expectations built over years of consistent storytelling. The success of such a narrative choice often hinges on how well the new elements are integrated and explained within the existing framework.
Making sure that even if unexpected, they feel like natural, if previously untold, parts of the world's history.
Exactly. It really relies heavily on the execution in the final film.
But despite these concerns and ongoing debates, there's an undeniable undercurrent of excitement and anticipation for the movie. You feel it online.
Oh, definitely.
Even those with reservations are still looking forward to it, because at its core, it's more Douluo Dalu. What fans look forward to, across the board, is the prospect of learning more about Chen Xin, gaining a deeper understanding of his motivations, and truly witnessing his growth as a swordsman, the specific techniques, the breakthroughs in his spirit power, and the emotional arc of how he became the venerated figure they admire.
They're also eager to explore his foundational relationships, particularly with characters like the young Ning Rongrong and Douluo, whose role in entrusting Rongrong to Chen Xin is now explicitly central to the narrative. The promise here is more than just action. It's the chance to gain a deeper, more intimate understanding of a pivotal character's journey, a journey that ultimately contributes significantly to the larger saga and the history of the Douluo continent. This anticipation is driven by that desire to complete the puzzle of the Douluo Dalu universe, adding crucial pieces that fill in the gaps of its expansive lore. Hashtag tag check outro. So, in conclusion, Chen Xin's sword art really represents a significant milestone, I think, in the Douluo Dalu franchise. By focusing on a beloved supporting character and exploring his backstory in such depth, the movie offers fans a chance to revisit the universe from a really fresh perspective.
Yeah, shining a light on a crucial period before the main saga began, and revealing untold histories that shaped the world we know.
And the narrative choices from Chen Xin's surprising, maybe even controversial connection to the Azura god,
We'll see how that lands.
to his heartwarming and incredibly high-stakes relationship with the young Ning Rongrong, all add layers of complexity and emotional depth to the story. It truly promises to be a memorable, impactful, and insightful addition to the series.
Yeah, providing context that really deepens our appreciation for the main storyline.
Whether it's through its potentially controversial plot twists that challenge our assumptions about divine destiny, the profound exploration of divine power versus human choice, or that emotionally resonant mentor-mentee relationship at its core. Chen Xin's sword art seems set to resonate deeply with both longtime fans and maybe even newcomers alike. It aims not just to entertain, but to enrich the entire narrative tapestry of the Douluo Dalu world, giving us a fuller, more nuanced understanding of its history, its heroes, and maybe the true meaning of strength within that world.
So, as we anticipate the release of Soul Land movie, Sword Dao Chen Xin on July 12, 2025, here's a thought to maybe mull over. Chen Xin, a powerful individual, was apparently offered godhood, the ultimate power, immortality, ascension in his world, but chose a different path.
A harder path, arguably.
Yeah, he chose one of loyalty, sacrifice, and protecting human connection. What is his decision? To reject ultimate divine power for the sake of responsibility and love for another. Tell us about where true strength ultimately resides, not just in the fantastical world of Douluo Dalu, but maybe in the choices we make in our own lives when faced with a similar dilemma between personal gain and collective well-being. What would you choose?